Today we're playing a brand new card from Tarkir Dragonstorm, Ugin, Eye of the Storms in the Legacy Colorless Storm deck, known as Karn Forge or Mystic Forge combo. Let's go check it out. This is Legacy Karn Forge, the Colorless Storm deck, and today we're playing a new exciting colorless Planeswalker from Tarkir Dragonstorm, Ugin, Eye of the Storm. And while I'm excited to play this, because honestly it's just sweet, for 7 mana you get a Planeswalker with 7 loyalty. Whenever you cast this spell, exile a permanent with 1 or more colors. Whenever you cast a colorless spell, exile a permanent that's 1 or more colors. And then for +2 loyalty, you gain 3 life and draw a card. For +0 loyalty, you make 3 colorless mana, so a colorless dark ritual. Or -11, exile any number of colorless cards from your deck, and you can cast those spells this turn. In a colorless combo deck like Karn Forge, that means you can cast your entire library with this ultimate. Will it happen today? I hope so, but I don't know if it will. So we're going to stick around and find out. But how this deck functions is that you have a bunch of broken lands like Ancient Tomb and City of Traitors that you're using to accelerate into powerful cards like Mystic Forge, Karn the Great Creator, the One Ring, things like that. And then on top of that, you have some other acceleration like Basalt Monolith, Grim Monolith, Voltaic Key, and Manifold Key to untap the Grim Monolith. But today we're playing a combo that I think is pretty sweet. You're going to be able to use your Urza Saga to search out Candelabra of Tawnos to untap your broken lands, and then you could even use Voltaic Key or Manifold Key to untap the Candelabra of Tawnos and then untap those lands again, making a ton of mana. That is actually how you cast the Ugin Eye of the Storms. So hopefully we get to do plenty of that today. And I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, like, comment, subscribe. That's how you support the content. But without any further ado, let's play some Colorless Storm. I'll see you in the first round. Don't go anywhere. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, cyborg guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicstorm.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicstorm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. For round number 1 with Karn Forge and Legacy, we're on the draw. I've opened up quite the hand. So we have turn 1 Defense Grid into turn 2 Glaring Fleshraker, into turn 3 Glaring Fleshraker, plus possibly more. This hand is very exciting. I'm definitely interested in trying this out. Bayou, okay. Thoughtseize. If I had to take a guess, this probably gets rid of the Kozilek's command. They select a Glaring Fleshraker. Interesting. We draw Grim Monolith. I will play that. And then after the Grim Monolith resolves, we'll play Glaring Fleshraker, pass the turn. I think maybe they took the Glaring Fleshraker because they have a second copy of Thoughtseize, which makes me want to play out the Fleshraker quicker. Ooh, Undercity Sewers. Okay. I thought they might have been like a Cradle Control deck. It looks like they're actually just Bug Beanstalk. Okay, we rip Mystic Forge. Well, that was a draw, so I could slam the Forge here. Play the Ancient Tomb. I think you're supposed to play the Defense Grid. The Glaring Fleshraker triggers. And now we'll go to combat, get in there. So I'm going to feel bad if they end up having, like, Snapcaster Mage plus Thoughtseize or another discard spell for the Mystic Forge. But I think you're supposed to try to protect this Mystic Forge with the Defense Grid first. And now they play a Hedge Maze. Okay. Gets rid of an Up the Beanstalk. Momentum Breaker. We'll sacrifice the Eldrazi Spawn. And now we get a turn where we have Mystic Forge and a Glaring Fleshraker. So hopefully this goes well for us. Okay. We'll sacrifice the Spawn. Play the Manifold Key. Play the Lotus Petal from my hand. And this is why it's more of a Storm deck, because you really do get to have stormy turns. We'll use the key to untap the Grim Monolith. And now we'll tap the Grim Monolith for mana, sacrifice the Eldrazi Spawn. And I'm going to cast the Kozilek's command to make spawns and scry X and draw. So I'll target myself, we'll pay 6 mana. Okay. X is equal to 4, Kozilek's command. We'll put the lands on the bottom. I don't think I want the Mystic Forge either. I don't want any of this. So now they'll take 4. We'll sacrifice a spawn. We'll play Manifold Key. Beautiful. And now we'll sacrifice another spawn or 2, and we'll play the Grim Monolith. We'll use the Mystic Forge to exile the top card of our library. We hit a land. Use the Eldrazi spawn, and we'll untap the Mystic Forge, and then tap it again. Exile the top card. We'll sacrifice another spawn. We'll play Manifold Key. They'll go to 4. Okay, and now I can tap the Grim Monolith, and then untap the Grim Monolith using that key. And this Kozilek's Command we had in our hand the whole time should be lethal. We'll tap this. So this is a turn 3 protected win. This is pretty cool. Target myself, target myself. Boom. That'll do, pig. That'll do. And we're off to game number 2. I don't believe we're supposed to sideboard. I mean, you could bring in Dismember for like a collector oof if you wanted, but I think you're supposed to just run it back and try to naturally beat something like a collector oof. Game number 2, we have a turn 1 defense grid again, plus Urza's Saga, which I like in this matchup. So I will keep Misty Rainforest, and it looks like they're passing the turn. We'll play Ancient Tomb and Defense Grid. Force of Will, exiling Bargain. Okay. This card is so sweet if you haven't seen it. For 2 black, 2 green, 2 blue, so either 6 colorless or Sultai mana, you get an instant. You look at the top 4, put 2 of them to your hand, the rest into your graveyard. So it's like an instant speed stock up if you're playing a Sultai deck. They play basic Swamp and up the Beanstalk with 3 cards remaining. Okay. We draw another land, flooding a little bit. We'll play the Urza Saga, and then we'll play Basalt Monolith. Tap the Basalt Monolith, we'll play the Voltaic Key, and then we'll use the key to untap the Basalt Monolith. So the question is, do I want to use the Kozilek's Command now while they're tapped out? I don't think so. I'm going to just pass the turn. They have 5 cards in their hand. Another copy of Up the Beanstalk. So now every Force of Will will draw 2 cards. So essentially a free counter spell in every sense of the meaning. Alright, we go to the second chapter on Urza's Saga. I will tap the Basalt Monolith. Let's play Defense Grid. And another copy of Force of Will. The exile, this town ain't big enough. Wow, standard card here. Okay. So they'll draw 2 cards off Up the Beanstalk. Defense Grid has been countered. We will play the Planar Nexus. Untap the Basalt Monolith. Pass the turn. Land number 3. On their end step, I will create a Construct token going down to 14 life. We'll draw for turn, and it's Karn the Great Piece of Trash. Okay. In an effort to save a little bit of life here, I'm going to tap the Basalt Monolith to create my Construct. And then I'll untap the Basalt Monolith with the floating mana. And now the final chapter of Urza's Saga. It resolves. So it's either Manifold Key, so that way we can make our constructs unblockable, or Candelabra of Thanos. And I don't think Candelabra actually helps me at the moment, so I'll grab Manifold Key, play City of Traitors, and then let's just go to combat, I think. We'll attack for 5, and I'm going to just pass the turn. So my fear with playing Karn the Great Creator is, what if I play Karn and then they're able to draw additional cards? Well, here they have a bargain anyway, so they get to draw 2 plus look at the top 4. This is the ideal spot for this card. Essentially just dig through time. Murderous Cut. Ay, ay, ay. Yep. They're so far ahead on cards here. 9 cards in their hand. Null Rod. Alright, so in response to Null Rod, we'll untap the Basalt Monolith. We'll play Kozilek's Command for 8. Alright, Kozilek's Command on the stack. They brainstorm in response. Kozilek's Command? It looks like it resolves. Wow. Alright, so we don't want any of these artifacts because obviously they do nothing. But I do think I would like a Glaring Fleshraker. So we'll keep that. And now Null Rod can happen. And now they go to clean up, discarding 1 card, which is a basic forest. I'll go to 10. Actually, no, I won't go to 10. Let's just start with the Glaring Fleshraker. Sacrifice a few tokens here. to play Karn the Great Creator, trigger the Glaring Fleshraker, they Force of Negation. So they'll go to 11 here. I'll go to 10. I'll play the Grim Monolith. So this will deal them another damage, and it will increase my construct to a 5/5. Swing, batter, swing. And now they're at 5 life. So I have to hope that with all those cards they looked at last turn that they don't have enough to stop me here. Land number 5. They go to 4 life off of the Misty Rainforest. Borrow Goyf. That's not good for me. And a Fatal Push. Oh, that's devastating. The Borrow Goyf is a 6/7. And I can't make my creature unblockable due to the Null Rod. I think I just have to pass here. They play another Bargain and a Ponder. They did not shuffle with the Ponder. They don't attack, which makes sense because if they did, I could block and sacrifice my Eldrazi and they wouldn't gain any life. Another Planar Nexus. I'll lose my City of Traitors, that's fine. We will pass the turn. They use the Polluted Delta down to 3 life. Another Murderous Cut. Okay, I've lost this one. I'm going to save some time and go to the next game. No changes. I'm just going to resubmit and hope for a better start. On the play. No. Can't keep that. Could keep this. This is a turn 1 Karn the Great Creator. Is that good, though? I suppose we'll keep. I really wish that this was a different 4-mana spell. We'll play the City of Traitors, play Grim Monolith, play the Voltaic Key, untap the Grim Monolith. If this is Force of Vigor, we are in a world of hurt. No! Devastating. Pass the turn. Turn 1 Ponder. And they did not shuffle. Another Grim Monolith, we'll play that. Play the Glaring Fleshraker. Pass the turn. Polluted Delta. They go to 18. They still have 5 cards in their hand. Null Rod. Ay. We'll swing. They play up the Beanstalk. Ancient Tomb. We'll play the Ancient Tomb. We lose our City of Traitors. Play Karn the Great Creator. This will trigger the Glaring Fleshraker. Karn the Great Creator. Let's minus the Karn. And I think I'll grab a Defense Grid. And then we'll attack. They're at 13. I don't feel like I'm completely out of this game yet, but I do feel like I'm very far behind. Looks like they missed their land drop. Okay, well that's a window. We'll play Urza's Tower. Let's try Defense Grid. This triggers the Glaring Fleshraker. Consign to Memory. Okay. We'll play Manifold Key. We get another creature here. I will plus the Karn the Great Creator. And now we'll attack. Swing. They go to 9. Still 6 cards in their hand here. Is this a Murktide region? It is. Okay. That's a 7/7 creature. It is very large. So that's going to stop me from using Karn to lock them out of the game with Mycosynth Lattice, because they can just kill my Karn. So what is the best thing I can do here? Paradox Engine doesn't help me. Yeah, I don't really have anything in my sideboard for a giant Murktide Regent. We'll minus the Karn. We'll grab Disruptor Flute. Play Urza's Tower. Play the Disruptor Flute. This will trigger the Glaring Fleshraker. Looks like they're going to Force of Will. Okay, so now they go to 8. And then the Glaring Fleshraker will bring them down to 7. No point in attacking into a Murktide Regent, so I'll just pass the turn. And now they play another copy of Brainstorm. They found Misty Rainforest, and they're going to attack. My Karn the Great Creator, okay. They might have a Fatal Push now that could kill the Glaring Fleshraker. We'll see if they decide to Fatal Push. They use some Misty Rainforest down to 6. They grab another copy of Underground Sea. And there's the Fatal Push. Yeah, I think we just lost. Another City of Traitors. We'll play the One Ring that I can't use due to the Null Rod on the battlefield. I do gain protection for 1 turn. Now they have a second copy of Up the Beanstalk, Basic Island, and Ponder. The One Ring triggers, but there's no counters on it. We draw a Karn the Great Creator. Let's play it. Another consign to memory. We will pass the turn. A third copy of Up the Beanstalk. Slide my sideboard down here. And now they'll attack. We'll go to 9. They have 3 cards remaining in their hand. Another Glaring Fleshraker. We'll play it. And that'll do. Alright, so we have lost the match. Unfortunate. We're 0-1 to start off this Legacy League. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on Moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. So we lost match number 1 and we didn't get to play Ugin Eye of the Storm, so hopefully we get to do that here in match number 2. We're on the play. This is an incredibly good hand. We will keep this. So we have turn 1, Urza's Tower into Manifold Key. Turn 2, we can play Defense Grid. Or, I mean, you could also play the Grim Monolith plus Defense. Like, there's a lot of things you could do here. It depends on what our opponent's up to. So we'll play the Manifold Key, pass the turn. And I'm choosing to play out the Urza's Tower on the first turn because we can combine it with this Planar Nexus, and then on turn 2, the Urza's Tower will make 4 mana, and if they were a Wasteland deck, I don't want the Planar Nexus being destroyed. Looks like we're facing Burn, and I reveal another Defense Grid. Not really a card I want. So now this is 4 mana. We'll play Grim Monolith. I wonder if it's better to not play Karn the Great Creator this turn. Like, is it better to try to play Karn plus the Lattice in the same turn? So next turn I can play Urza's Tower, that's 6 mana. I have 4 mana for Karn. So is it better here to just play Defense Grid pass? I think it might be. And I'll pass the turn. They play Mountain, Roiling Vortex, I don't care. Yep. We reveal a 3rd Defense Grid. There's only 3 in the deck, so this is all of them. So I'll play Urza's Tower. This gives me enough mana to now play Karn the Great Creator. We'll do that. And now I can minus the Karn the Great Creator. This feels disgusting. We'll go grab the Mycosynth Lattice, and our opponent won't be able to cast spells for the rest of the game. Yeah, you can't cast spells. What they can do is attack my Karn the Great Creator. We don't love that. So the Karn next turn will go to 1 counter, and eventually we can start plussing the Karn on the Lattice as a blocker, and then just wait until the Karn gets large enough where Goblin Guide isn't a concern anymore. Alright, so the Roiling Vortex will deal me 1. We will plus the Karn the Great Creator, excuse me, Karn the Great Creator on the Mycosynth Lattice. Ooh, actually, I can attack and then untap the Lattice with the key. That's nice. I did not consider that. So let's attack. This is cool. I feel disgusted that I'm excited about a Karn the Great Creator interaction here. We'll play the Voltaic Key, and then we'll untap the Lattice. Pass the turn. Actually, I suppose I could untap my Grim Monolith. I might as well do that. Alright, your turn. Now the Roiling Vortex will put them down to 12. Ah, Fire Blast, okay. So they're going to take 5. Well, I guess they found their way out. So they're at 7. I'm going to lose my Karn the Great Creator. My Lattice is still a creature for now, though. So I would need to draw another Karn the Great Creator. They Lava Spike me, I go to 11. And now they're passing the turn. So I lose my Lattice as a creature. The One Ring! We'll play that. I gain protection from everything. Let's draw a card. Another One Ring. I'll add 3 mana. We'll untap the One Ring. Tap it, we'll draw. Glaring Fleshraker, okay. Let's untap the One Ring again. I'll draw 3. Another Glaring Fleshraker, okay. We'll tap the Grim Monolith. We'll play Glaring Fleshraker. Play Voltaic Key. This will trigger the Fleshraker. They'll go to 6. Sacrifice the Eldrazi Spawn to untap Grim Monolith. And I could play another One Ring here to give me protection, but I already have protection. My concern is with the fact that I'm going to take 3 in my upkeep off of the One Ring. So if I play Fleshraker here, actually, do I have a win? I could play Fleshraker, they would go to 5. They die in their upkeep through their own Roiling Vortex. Yeah, okay, so this is just best case scenario. They go to 5. I'm sorry, they go to 4. So if that's the case, they're dead. We'll play Urza's Saga. We'll tap the Saga for a mana. Play Defense Grid, which is a free spell with all the Glaring Fleshrakers in play. Alright, well that did it, I suppose. Alright, so we got the game win. Take that, burn. I don't love having Defense Grid in my deck, but I'm not sure if we have much that's better. I could bring in Disruptor Flute, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, I could also just bring in the Paradox Engine, but I think it's better in the sideboard for the Karn the Great Creator. Let's just try this. Now, this is a hand. This is very good. We have a turn 1 Glaring Fleshraker plus double Lotus Petal into the One Ring, if I'm seeing this correctly. Oh my. Things are about to get stormy. We'll play Grim Monolith, play the Glaring Fleshraker, play Lotus Petal. This triggers the Fleshraker. Okay, so now we can play another... No, I'm 1 mana short of another Fleshraker. So I think I have to play the Lotus Petal. And then sacrifice the artifacts, and an Eldrazi spawn will play Glaring Fleshraker. That leaves me 1 short. Maybe I was supposed to play the Basalt Monolith? Yeah, maybe I was supposed to play Basalt Monolith. I wonder if there was a better way to sequence that, other than me just going Basalt Monolith into the One Ring. They play a Chain Lightning. Ouch. And a Bolt Wave. I'll go to 14. They attack. I'll block. Sure. City of Traitors, we'll play that. And then I'll play the Basalt Monolith. This will trigger the Glaring Fleshraker. And then tap the Basalt Monolith and the Eldrazi spawn to play the One Ring. We gain protection. Okay, they're at 14 now. I'll draw a card. We drew a land. Bummer. Swing for 2. They're now at 12. They play land number 3. Eidolon of the Great Revel. Sure. So I'll take 1 from the One Ring. They Lightning Bolt my Glaring Fleshraker. Sure. That seems weird to do it in my upkeep. Maybe they think that the One Ring protects my creatures? That's not how that works. So I'll take 1. We have 13. We draw for turn. It's another Ancient Tomb. Don't love that. Mystic Forge plus a Defense Grid. I think I'll go to 11. We'll play Mystic Forge. My top card is an Urza's Saga. I don't love that. But the question is, am I supposed to try to exile the top card and lose a life versus burn? I think the answer is probably not. We'll just pass. Goblin Guide, they go to 8. And a Lava Spike. So I think I'm dead here. This build that we're playing today does not play, what is it called? Aetherflux Reservoir. So that doesn't help me at all. We'll block the Swift Spear, I suppose. We'll take 4 down to 4 life, and my upkeep I'll lose 2 down to 2 life. And then we'd have to win the game off low resources and only 2 life. We'll draw 3. And that doesn't do it. So we'll go to the next one. Okay, we'll just resubmit and try it again. I mean, I had a good hand that game, it just didn't get there. This is turn 2 Basalt Monolith. I'm sorry, turn 1 Basalt Monolith. We're short of turn 2 Ugin, but it's a possibility if I were to draw +2 land. Alright, I suppose we'll keep this. I have to imagine Ugin is very good in this matchup if I can get it in play. Ancient Tomb, Lotus Petal. So my best draw by far is like City of Traitors. We'll play Basalt Monolith, pass the turn. Mountain, and they pass. Key, so we'll play the Key. Untap the Basalt Monolith. So I could play Karn the Great Creator. And next turn I could threaten to lock them out of the game. Or I can just pass and the next turn play Ugin. Which is probably better, right? Yeah, I'll just pass the turn. Instead if they Lightning Bolt me, I go to 15. Land number 2, Eidolon of the Great Revel. Smash the Smithereens. Why not go after the Basalt Monolith? It's so odd. Sure. That was a very strange play. Another Key. We'll play it and do the same thing. Untap the Basalt Monolith. Pass the turn. They play a 3rd land. Chain Lightning, I go to 9. They have 4 cards. Planar Nexus. Untap the Basalt Monolith. Tap it again. I do have to tap the Ancient Tomb, so I'm risking Lightning Bolt Fire Blast here. We'll play Ugin. No targets. It resolves, I'll plus it and gain 3 life and draw a card. Okay, I'm not going to play a land because I think one of the few ways I could lose this is if I get, like, Price of Progress out of the game. So I'm going to just rely on Ugin to win this now. We have successfully cast Ugin Eye of the Storms. They smashed the smithereens on my Voltaic Key again, sure. We'll plus the Ugin. Another Karn the Great Creator. Pass the turn. So now if they don't burn the Ugin, I get to ultimate this Ugin. I never thought in this league I would get to ultimate Ugin. It is a dream come true if it happens. They play a land. They have 3 cards remaining. Our opponent just conceded. Bummer. Alright, well, a match win is a match win. I'll take it. Ugin Eye of the Storm still won despite not actually getting to ultimate. We're now 1-1 in this Legacy League. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Token Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $14.99. This combo token pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens. That includes our classic Storm and Mana tokens, as well as fan favorites such as Goblins, Squirrels, and Slime Time Live. But that's not all. We've expanded this token pack to cover a variety of formats with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. We're back for another round and we have Ugin Eye of the Storms keep. So we've won every match that we've played Ugin Eye of the Storms. I mean, that's just a direct correlation, right? I should try to play it more often. Alright, so I'll lead on the Urza's Tower and pass. With them leading on Misty Rainforest, they could be a blue deck. If they are, I would like to keep my City of Traitors around just a little bit longer. And it looks like we might be facing the Sultai Beanstalk deck once again. They kept the card on top. It could also be the Omni Show deck. And it is. Okay. We'll play City of Traitors. And let's play Glaring Fleshraker. So this isn't as an explosive of a turn, but next turn, assuming that they don't just win the game, I'd have a much more explosive combo turn, rather than spewing my Grim Monolith and Manifold Key now. Instead, they play a Brainstorm. They do not cycle with Lorien Revealed, so they're drawing that card once again. Ancient Tomb. Do you have it? They do. I suppose I'll put in the Grim Monolith. They have the Omniscience. And that's the game. Intuition. I'm guessing they have triple Cunning Wish here. Or triple Emrakul. Okay. Bummer. Not much I could have done against that. I suppose I could try to bring in Disruptor Flute. Maybe shave a couple copies of Kozilek's Command. Or is this not a good... Whoops. Alright, well I guess I don't get to sideboard because I had already hit Submit. I think this is a keep. So we'll play Ancient Tomb. Play the Candelabra Tanos. I don't get to play Basalt Monolith on the first turn. But I do get to untap my Ancient Tomb. And then play 2 keys. And then next turn, I can play Basalt Monolith into Mystic Forge and try to do something. They play Hedge Maze once again. They kept a card on top. Ancient Tomb. We will untap our 2 lands. Let's play Basalt Monolith. And then I'll use the key on the Candelabra, which allows me to untap the Ancient Tombs again. I go to 8. Getting kind of low on life here. It's a little dangerous. Tap the Basalt Monolith. Maybe I'll start using... No, I should probably save 1 key. I'll go to 6. Floating 1 colorless mana. Mystic Forge. They have Force of Will, exiling Omniscience. I'll pass the turn. So I've burned through my life total already. So we have to start being a little bit more cautious about how we use these Ancient Tombs. I'll pass the turn. They don't do anything on the end step. And now they play a Ponder. Now they have Tropical Island. I think we're supposed to try to play this Kozilek's Command on the end step. Kozilek's Command for 3. I still don't want to use the Ancient Tombs yet. Mana's not really the choke point here. I just care about converting this Kozilek's Command into a card that I want. Glaring Fleshraker is not even good here. I think I'm going to get rid of it. We need a payoff. The One Ring is sort of a payoff here. I'm at 6 life, which scares me. So I will sacrifice my spawns, and we'll play the One Ring, which allows me to tap the Ancient Tombs, by the way, because I have protection from everything, including the 2 damage from Ancient Tomb. I have another Force of Will. You're not a nice person, opponent. You just have it all. It's not very kind. They grab a basic island, land number 4, 3 mana for a show and tell. Why me? Why me? Turn 4 with double backup. The One Ring. So you're saying there's a chance. So I'll go to 4. We'll play the Lotus Petal. I mean, it's a very slim chance, but it's a chance that exists. So I'll play the One Ring. That resolves. So I'll draw a card. Kozilek's Command. I don't take any damage from Ancient Tomb right now. We'll untap our 2 copies of Ancient Tomb. So that way we have some mana. And then I'll untap the One Ring. I mean, I'm not likely to win here, but you never know. Another copy of the One Ring. So I could buy myself a turn here. I'd have to annihilate 6 still, which is a lot. We'll play Manifold Key, untap Basalt Monolith, and then tap the Basalt Monolith to untap the Candle. And now we can untap our lands. So I could Kozilek's Command for 3. I just don't know how I get ahead here. I already have ring protection, so I suppose I could just pass and then annihilate and untap. So we'll play Kozilek's Command for 3. Oh, I can't target myself because of the One Ring. Ah, alright. So what to do? So I'd probably sacrifice the 2 Ancient Tombs. Maybe the Planar Nexus. No, I need to keep the Planar Nexus. It might just be toast. Untap the Basalt Monolith, I guess. Pass the turn. They're fetching with the Misty Rainforest for Mystic Sanctuary, and they're getting back a Force of Will. Mystic Sanctuary is a choice. And I say that because we did see that they're playing Mistrise Village, so they're probably low on actual islands. I'm a little surprised to see the Mystic Sanctuary. We'll get rid of the Planar Nexus because the Basalt Monolith is untapped. Okay, I still have protection. So I'll go to 2 of my upkeep off of the One Ring, and then we have to beat the known Force of Will, which is going to be tough, but it's theoretically possible. So I go to 2, we'll draw 3, make 3 mana, untap the One Ring, draw 4. So I could play Defense Grid. I just don't think I'm going to be able to get up to... like, if I'm trying to beat the Force of Will, I don't think I'm going to be able to make enough mana to win. So I could play the Grid, and then they could still force. So, like, why would I even bother? I think I just have to pretend that they don't have the blue card. So we'll play Glaring Fleshraker. Because, like, they have 3 untapped lands. This Defense Grid doesn't do anything. So playing the Glaring Fleshraker and just hoping they don't have the blue card is the best chance I have here. And it resolves, so now I'll play the Lotus Petal. This triggers. They go to 15. We'll sacrifice the Lotus Petal and the Eldrazi spawn. We'll play Basalt Monolith. They go to 14. That resolves. We'll sacrifice, and now I'll Kozilek's Command for 2. Target myself, target myself. Okay. And now they Force of Will. Exile's Cunning Wish. So they had it the whole time. Alright, so we lost. Unfortunate. Sometimes that happens. We're now 1-2. If you're still watching, make sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. While you're near the description, here's a reminder to use our affiliate links if you're going to make a purchase from Amazon, Card Hoarder, or TCG Player. Just above those affiliate links, you'll find our social channels. Make sure to join those to connect with us. Welcome to match number 4. We're 1-2, looking to bounce back a little bit. We're on the draw. I've already kept my hand. We have turn 1 Defense Grid into a powerful 4-drop on the second turn. I have no idea what our opponent's playing, but I do know that they keep on mulliganing. They're already down to 4 cards, which tells me it's probably Oops All spells, but I don't actually know. So we're going to see what happens and just, you know, play Magic as we can. If they are on Oops All spells, I'm probably not winning game number 1, but I do have Leyline of the Void in my sideboard, so we'll see what happens. Gemstone Mine pass. Okay, so this might be Necrodominance. We'll play Ancient Tomb Defense Grid. Pass the turn. Vault of Whispers, so it is Necrodominance. They exile Simian Spirit Guide, Wild Cantor. This gives them 3 black to play the Necrodominance. Unfortunate. So now we're probably dead. And the unfortunate thing about this, really, is that my Leyline of the Voids and the sideboard aren't even good against this deck, but we do have 2 copies of Mindbreak Trap. So that's what we'll be relying on. They play another Summoner's Pact. I just have to hope that they fizzle. I mean, I recorded this deck last week and I fizzled twice. So will I be lucky enough? Probably not, but I can dream. Manamorphose. They play a Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual, another Dark Ritual, all the mana in the world. They have 11 cards left in their hand. Valakut Awakening. Here's to hoping you fizzle. So this says they drew 1 card. Did you mess up or are you just showboating? Another Valakut Awakening. This time it says they drew 8 cards, so maybe they just didn't know how it worked before. And there's a Born Upon the Wind. So now they just need like a Beseech the Mirror, and I'm dead. There's a Lotus Petal. Another Summoner's Pact. Another Summoner's Pact. Storm is already lethal. And now I'm Manamorphose. They have 8 cards in their hand. Another Manamorphose. A third Manamorphose. Actually, that's all 4. Born Upon the Wind, or Born Upon a Wind. And finally, they play Beseech the Mirror with Storm 19. Storm 20 will be Tendrils of Agony. Okay, so we lose game number 1. We will bring in Mindbreak Trap and the Disruptor Flute. Get rid of Defense Grid. And Ugin Eye of the Storms doesn't seem great here. Pithing Needle doesn't actually hit anything in their deck, so bringing that in doesn't make sense. We'll submit. Game number 2, we're on the play. This is not good enough. We'll send it back. This is a turn 2 Karn the Great Creator, so that's not good enough either. Not to mention, I guess, okay, if we were able to play turn 1 Karn the Great Creator, we would have shut off their land, which would have mattered. They're playing a build with Serum Powder, which is what I recommended in my last video. They have their own copies of Mindbreak Trap. That's interesting. I think I have to mulligan this. This hand just doesn't do it. So we have Disruptor Flute. I like that. And then we have turn 2 the One Ring and Mystic Forge. Actually, this could be a turn 1 the One Ring. But are we trying to play around our opponent's Mindbreak Traps? We'll get rid of Mystic Forge and Grim Monolith. Play City of Traitors. We'll play Disruptor Flute. We'll name Necrodominance. Pass the turn. Gemstone Mine. Maybe I was supposed to play Grim Monolith, Disruptor Flute, and then Key, but I was worried about Mindbreak Trap. Maybe I shouldn't be, but it was just something in my head. Yeah, maybe I was supposed to play the Grim Monolith on the first turn. We'll play it now. And actually, withdrawing the second copy of the One Ring, I'm more open to jamming the One Ring now. We'll untap the Grim Monolith. Play the One Ring. It resolves. We'll draw a card. Okay, pass. They have 6 cards in hand and they're tanking here. They did exile 2 Dark Rituals and a Cabal Ritual. They attack, but I have protection from everything. So we will be getting another turn. I'll take 1. We'll draw 2 cards off of the One Ring. Tap the City of Traitors. Untap the Grim Monolith. And now we'll play Karn the Great Piece of Trash. And we'll minus the Karn. Yes. And I think we'll grab the Paradox Engine. Play Urza Saga. I mean, if they have a win through Disruptor Flute and Karn the Great Creator, you earned it. They play Summoner's Pact, so they think they have it here. I hope they don't. Dark Ritual. Elvish Spirit Guide, Simian Spirit Guide. They need the Wild Cantor's mana number 6. So they've used 3 of their 8 Spirit Guides. Lotus Petal doesn't work. It does give them a bargainable, though. So we just have to hope that they don't hit Spirit Guides. They hit 1. Summoner's Pact. Okay, so that gives them another. So that's all 4 Elvish Spirit Guides. So now there's only 3 remaining Simian Spirit Guides. Manamorphose. They made black-red. Another Manamorphose. For black-red again. There's only 1 Dark Ritual left in the deck. And they've used 2 of their 4 Manamorphose, and they still have to play Born Upon a Wind. Well, there's number 3. They do blue-black this time. They hit a Simine Spirit Guide. There's 2 Simine Spirit Guides left in the deck. So if they have Born Upon a Wind, Dark Ritual, Beseech, I'm dead. Well, there's the Born Upon a Wind. You have the 4th copy of Dark Ritual. Alternatively, you could have one of the 2 remaining Simian Spirit Guides plus Cabal Rituals. That would also work here. Alright, they concede. Let's submit. Alright, game 3, we're on the draw. They've kept 7. We will mulligan. Not good enough. Go to 5. We have Mindbreak Trap. Suppose we keep. Get rid of Ugin, Eye of the Storms, and Kozilek's Command. They play Gemstone Mine. They use a Simine Spirit Guide. Cabal Ritual. I unfortunately cannot Mindbreak Trap that. That's only spell number 2. They play a Chrome Mox. Imprints Cabal Ritual. And now they'll draw 19. They play Summoner's Pact. Dark Ritual. Cabal Ritual. Red here. Green. So you could try to go after the Born Upon a Wind, but if your opponent has a ton of mana, I feel like that's actually wrong. And you're supposed to maybe... So we know for a fact that our opponent has 2 copies of Tendrils of Agony, because they're playing a build with Serum Powder. So I think going after Born Upon a Wind might be a mistake. Alternatively, like they have 14 cards, you could just try to hit the Tendrils of Agony and hope that's good enough. Which it might be, it might not be. But I think it's so easy for them to win if they just have another Manamorphose plus a Born Upon a Wind or Veilcut Awakening into those things. So I'm going to let the Born Upon a Wind resolve. Now they play a Lotus Petal, another, and now they Manamorphose. So they actually had another Manamorphose the whole time. So if they did have another Born Upon a Wind, that would have been a really good bait spell. But I think I'm supposed to just sit on this Mindbreak Trap and hope that it's good enough. I mean, our opponent's sequenced really well so far. Another Manamorphose, so yeah. Going after Manamorphose Born Upon a Wind, I think, would have been a huge blunder. Now the Veilcut Awakening. Sure. They put 12 on the bottom. So that's their entire hand. Dark Ritual. So I do know that they boarded in their own Mindbreak Trap. So if they have a Mindbreak Trap, they could exile my Mindbreak Trap, which is a line that they could use here. And now they're going to Veilcut Awakening again. And you might be saying, how would they Mindbreak Trap your Mindbreak Trap? Well, you could always play the Mindbreak Trap for its mana value. And they put all 10 cards on the bottom. Beseech the Mirror with Bargain. I'll play the Mindbreak Trap. Do you have it? Okay. Looks like they do. So there's 2 copies of Tendrils of Agony. They just happen to have it all. So even if I waited for the Mindbreak Trap on Tendrils of Agony, there's another Tendrils in the deck. And we know that because they're playing the Serum Powder. So it seems like it didn't matter. They just had double Tendrils the whole time. Alright, so even though we had the turn 1 Mindbreak Trap, it was not good enough. And now we're 1-3 in this league. I have to say, the Mystic Forge deck, not feeling that great. The only match we've won, I was able to play Ugin, Eye of the Storm. So let's see if we can, get half my entry back in match number 5. The best Legacy podcast? That would be Eternal Glory featuring myself, Bryant Cook, alongside Brian Koval and Phil Gallagher. We're available on all major podcast platforms and YouTube. Alright, the final match of this Legacy League. We're on the draw. I have no idea what our opponent's playing. I'm going to keep this. So we don't have the Planar Nexus to combine with Urza's Tower, but this is a turn 2 Karn the Great Creator. Alright, so we see a turn 1 Wild Growth. I would guess, and this is just a hunch, that we're facing Enchantress. I'll play Manifold Key, pass the turn. Serra's Sanctum, it does in fact look like Enchantress here. Green Sun Zenith for 2 for an Argothian Enchantress. City of Traitors. We'll play Karn the Great Creator. And then we'll minus the Karn the Great Creator. And I think I want to bluff, but my actual game plan is next turn I'm going to grab Mycosynth Lattice. I'm going to grab the Paradox Engine here. I don't want them to think about Mycosynth Lattice. They play a Destiny Spinner. So that's going to stop me from locking them out with the Lattice. Enchantress's Presence. But I could exile the Destiny Spinner with a Kozilek's command. So we're going to exile the Destiny Spinner, and then I'll scry and draw. Keep the Planar Nexus. Play Urza's Tower. And now I'll plus the Karn the Great Creator. Pass the turn. Okay, so they play a Sith's Harvest Hand and a Sterling Grove. I believe we've won this now. So I'll play the Planar Nexus. We have a bunch of mana. I'll minus the Karn the Great Creator. I'll say yes. Grab the Lattice. We'll play the Lattice. Pass the turn. So they can attack the Karn down to 1 loyalty, but then from there, I just win. And they know that too, so now we're going to the next one. Okay, so we want Dismember over the defense grids. Like, grid just doesn't do anything here. And then we'll bring in Disruptor Flute? I'm not really sure. I mean, you could also do 1 Mindbreak Trap, I suppose. Might be better than trying to guess with Disruptor Flute. So we'll try this. Why not? I do think it would be really funny to Ugin Eye of the Storms the Enchantress deck, though. I think that would actually be a lot of fun. 7 mana, huh? We'll send that back. Alright, we have Ugin. We don't have 7 mana, but I think I'm going to keep it anyway. We'll get rid of Kozilek's command. Basic Forest, and pass. Lotus Petal, we'll play Ancient Tomb, send it back to them. I would love a Grim Monolith. They play basic Plains and pass. Kozilek's command. So if I play City of Traitors, end step I can make 2 Scions with the Kozilek's command, untap an Ugin. That's the dream. So we'll play the Lotus Petal now. Pass the turn. They play a Boseiju Who Endures. Okay. Green Sun Zenith for 2. This is probably our Gothian Enchantress. And it is. So on the end step, we'll Kozilek's command for 3. I'll make some Scions and then we'll scry and draw. We'll keep Grim Monolith. Actually, put the Saga on the bottom. I mean, we might want the Candlestick too. We'll keep these both on top. We'll play the Urza Saga. Tap the City of Traitors. The Saga now taps for mana. Ugin Eye of the Storms. So I can't target the Argothian Enchantress, but I'll be able to exile pretty much everything they do for the rest of the game. And now we'll gain 3 life and draw a card. Another copy of the One Ring. Pass the turn. No! This exiles my Ugin. I mean, here I thought we had it the whole time. That's a bummer. Not a big fan of that. Okay, so maybe I got a little too cocky. I don't love that at all. Glaring Fleshraker. Okay, so what should I do here? So I can play the Fleshraker and then play Candle, which would then make a Scion that I can use to untap the Ancient Tomb. I can then play Grim Monolith. Alright, so we're going to have a little bit of a storm turn. So I'll play a Candlestick, trigger the Glaring Fleshraker, and then I'll use the Scion. We'll untap the Ancient Tomb. Force of Vigor. Okay. I'll play Grim Monolith, create another Scion. They have 3 cards left. So if I would like to Kozilek's command here for 2, it would make a Scion, but then I couldn't play the One Ring. And I think I'd like to play the One Ring. So let's just play the One Ring here. I'll get another Scion. They Disruptor Flute in response. And they name the One Ring. Okay, well I guess I'm passing the turn. Very odd. They have Disruptor Flute, Force of Vigor, all these non-enchantments in their deck. They play Enchantress's Presence. They have 2 cards in hand. Solitary Confinement. So there's a good chance we've lost this one. And I thought having the Ugin, there was no chance. Draw Ancient Tomb. We'll tap those, and let's Kozilek's command for 5. Target myself. They have the Solitary Confinement, so they're protected from my Glaring Fleshraker. All 3 of these can go on the bottom. Alright, I've seen enough. We can go to the next game. They're about to just draw a whole bunch of cards next turn and just... I don't want to sit through it. So we'll try that again, and maybe this time I won't play so hard into the Ugin. So this is a turn 2 Glaring Fleshraker. I'm willing to try that. Ancient Tomb, pass the turn. They have a turn 1 Wild Growth. Karn the Great Piece of Trash. We'll play the Saga and Glaring Fleshraker. They play a Plains, 3 mana. Sith's Harvest Hand. I can exile that with the Kozilek's Command. We draw a Lotus Petal. Saga goes to the next chapter. We'll play the Petal. Trigger the Glaring Fleshraker. We'll play Urza's Tower. Sacrifice the Petal. I would like to Kozilek's Command, and we will scry and make spawns with the first one. Because I have 2, so I can play another one this turn as well. Alright, so we're going to make 4 here. Bottom. Mystic Forge, I'm definitely interested in that. We'll keep that. Okay. The question is, am I supposed to Kozilek's Command first? And I think the answer is probably yes. We'll exile and make Scions. Okay, so they'll take some more damage here. We'll play the Mystic Forge, create another Scion. They go to 9. Exile my top card. It's another land. We'll play Voltaic Key. They go to 8. Untap the Mystic Forge. It has to be Lotus Petal to keep going. It's another Karn the Great Creator. We'll attack for 2. They go to 6. Okay. They play Windswept Heath. Green Sun Zenith for 2. And they just pass. So I think we've got it from here. Our Saga goes to the 3rd chapter. I'll tap it. No need to make a construct in this spot. We'll grab another key. Another Glaring Fleshraker. Okay, I don't mind that. They go to 3. We'll exile the top card. Another Mystic Forge. I can't play that. So we'll untap the Mystic Forge. Exile. Mindbreak Trap. We'll exile the top card of our deck again. Choke point here being mana. I will attack. They're at 1. Stony Silence. That is not going to protect you here. I can still win using the Glaring Fleshrakers, so you'll need Solitary Confinement. They pass, so I think we've got it. And they concede, so we end up getting the 2-3. I get half my entry fee back. What do I think of the deck? Well, I believe that this is my 2nd time recording it since the banning of Vexing Bauble. And I have to say, I think the blue matchups feel a lot worse than they did in the past. Defense grid alone doesn't feel like it's enough. Like, I just feel like I got buried by every blue deck. And then against combo decks, like Omnitel or the Necrodominance deck, if they're not an artifact-based strategy, this deck feels like it's way too slow. So I think there's a lot of room for improvement in this deck. Obviously, it beats, when I played the Epic Storm, I don't really want to face the Karn the Great Creator deck, but I don't think that this deck has a good combo matchup. So you're not good against blue, you're not good against combo. You're pretty much only good against like slower mid-range decks like Enchantress. So I don't know if this is a deck I would recommend to people, but if you're looking to cast Ugin Eye of the Storms, this is a great deck for doing that. And I mean, we won the match that we got to play it, so that was kind of cool. I don't really know where to go from here. If you're trying to beat blue decks, maybe more copies of Ugin Eye of the Storms, but it is a 7-drop spell, so that's a concern as well. In your Mystic Forge deck that's trying to be a lean combo strategy, so it's tough because there's a lot of different pulls on this deck because you don't want your deck to be full of 7-drops and be lean for your Mystic Forge, so that's a natural tension there. I'm not sure how to fix it. It's just, I thought it would be fun to play today, and my honest feedback is the deck needs some work. This isn't even my own list. Like, this is a list that 5-0'd, and I decided that, it looked fun, so I would give it a spin, but, it happens in Magic. Things aren't always perfect, and, c'est la vie. That's all I got for today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, support us, I would greatly appreciate that. So, thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and keep storming. Hey you, yeah you, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it, and if you're interested, you can visit theepicstorm.com/donation decks to see your combo deck here on this very YouTube channel. You can even join me in a video in the Epic tier, it's totally worth it, I promise, and see ya, thanks for watching.